Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk back again with a Celebration project for you, and it's not just Celebration, it's using other items too, but I'm trying to show you how you can use this with the stuff that you already have, or when you buy a bundle that you can what you can buy to go with it. So this has several things on it. First of all, the DSP is the Celebration thing, and you can hopefully see those lovely gold dots on there, and the beauty of this paper is that it is white and gold and white and silver, and then you can colour it. So you've got the lovely stripes we've got. I haven't separated these out. We've got gold dots, then we've got the same in our silver and stripes, and the same in our dots. So that's what I'm using today. I think it's really pretty paper. I probably prefer, for me, it's probably the silver. That's just because I tend to go for silver rather than gold. But you know what? You know, you because you can colour it, you could make it go with anything that you are creating. So I think I'll go for the silver stripes so you can see how different it looks. This lovely label here is from Colour and Contour. Now, those of you who've watched me will know this is a firm favourite, probably for my classes more than my videos. It has not only the dies that coordinate with the stamped images, but it has these lovely labels dies as well. Absolutely brilliant for focal points. You can see I'm using, you know, and each one's different, which is the other thing I really like about it. So I'm using number 4. And you can see here, when I store mine, I actually measured them as well to know what mat or layer if you wanted to do that with them. So that's Colour and Contour. And then the front decoration is using the lovely Splendid Thoughts. And you can see here these super sort of foliage images, great sentiments. I haven't actually used the sentiment on this one. And that's because it's a bit of a surprise card. So this one, lovely images, lovely dies that not only cut out the main images, but some accents like this bowl, some fine foliage as well, that you can use, which is what I've used here. So adhesive sheets, really useful for that. And then finally, the fun element of it. So this is a Billboard pop-up. So I think the lady I spotted this was, I can't remember if it might have been Shrushi Patel, but basically it's a Billboard card, so it's folds closed and then pops up when you open it, which is just a bit of fun. So you can display it like this with a happy birthday, or obviously you could keep it as a standard card if you wanted to. I just I like, you know me, I like a card with a bit of movement. And then for the inside, I've used the Biggest Wish. Great stamp set, really useful, all sorts of occasions. What more can I say? So first of all, we need to do some stamping and some die cutting. You're going to want your blending brushes as well, because the first thing I did was when I die cut this, and I've already die cut one in advance, is when you take it out, leave it in the die itself. Or I should have said, I'm going to do polished pink with this one, so I'm going to go pinks. So we're going to do a bit of blending action on there, along with the paper that we're going to use as well. So for the front, I'm going to trim this down to 10 by 14. And look at that, I've even picked out the wrong piece of paper now. Okay, so let's start again. I might edit that out. So first thing I'm going to do is cut some paper then in the right orientation. 10 by 14. Keep these little pieces, they're great to go as accents. And you're going to want another strip that's about 1.5 centimetres. I'm just going to cut that, measuring it on the right for those small pieces. And again, that's going to be 14 by just 1.5. So I'm going to keep that just to the side there. Other pieces of card that you're going to want. Okay, you're going to want a standard card base. So mine is 14.5 by 21 centimetres, scored at 10.5. You want a piece to go on the inside of your card, 14 by 10 in basic white. You want some scraps of card for some stamping, which I've got here. And then you want 2 pieces of card. You want a piece of contrast. So I'm going to use some polished pink, and this is 8 by 6 centimetres. And you're going to want a piece to go on that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that down to 8. I'm not even going to trim it down to 8, I'm going to trim it to 7.5 by 5.5. So that's going to layer onto our billboard. So that's for my stamping as well. So pop that there. Other things you're going to need. Yes, you're going to need a piece of card. I'm using the same colour as the card base, and it's 3.5 by 12 centimetres, and a second piece that is 3.5 by 5.8, so quite just a tiny bit smaller. And then I have die cut out of Sahara sand the kind of bowl as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my my blending first and stamping, just so that those have got, if you like, chance to dry while we do the rest of the construction. Because what you don't want to do is start putting your card together and then find it's all gets smudged. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm taking my blending brush and some polished pink. And I'm just going to dip that into my ink pad, and then coming in from the side, just use your blending brush to add some colour. And I'm kind of using sort of my deep polished pink here. And you can just build the colour up. You can always do a little more as you want. Now you could either do this all in one colour, or you could add 2 colours if you wanted to. I'm just going to stick with this. And so you'll see I'm starting off to the side. That's just so I don't get any kind of harsh marks. And you don't have to worry about covering all of it, because that central section is going to be covered by the main panel that we're going to create. So I'm just coming in with a little bit more of the polished pink, just to kind of add a deeper hint to those, just those 2 corners, and pop that to one side to go on in a minute. Now when you die cut your shape for the centre, and you can do this with any of this sort of open die cuts, I'm just going to do the same, adding a little bit of colour to my die cut. And then when you take it off, you can see that your outer piece stays white, and you've got that inner which has got some pretty floral images and what looks like a thumbprint of mine as well. Okay, you know. So what you might want to do is, I think I might use that and cover that up with one of my floral images in a minute. So for my floral images then, I'm going to use the lovely stem here, and I'm going to use this big image of sort of the leaves. So I'm using my polished pink for this one, and I'm just going to stamp that there, and I'm going to come in with my leaf like so. Those I'm going to die cut. So with the die cuts, as you know, I tend to use a bit of post-it note tape. I tend to, if I'm doing colouring, I tend to stamp, die cut, then colour. Then if I make a mess of my die cutting, I'm not wasting time. I haven't wasted the time that I've spent colouring it. So I'm just going to pop those through the die cutting machine. Bit of post-it note tape just stops them moving around. Okay, so there we have our 2 images. As I said, I've already die cut a nice little bowl as well. And I've also die cut one of the foliage images with some adhesive sheet on the back as well. They're very fine those, so I would recommend that that you use those adhesive sheets. So in terms of colouring, back to an old faithful, which is the blender pen. So make sure you haven't got any leftover ink. Grab a spare block or another piece of non-porous material, and I'm just going to come in and colour those darker bits first, kind of the leaf edges where they might be in shade, or it might be the underside of the leaf that you're seeing just have curled over. And I'm just using my blender brush just to pick up the ink and colour, and then starting the centre, I'm then just going to, it's almost like a brush really, just come up from the bottom edge up to the top without re-inking, so you kind of get a natural fading of colour. So there we have our one, and then the other end, just make sure that's clean again, and another, just a bit off cut of, I don't want any more soft succulent, let's put the soft succulent away. Right, let's get rid of that and use the other end with my polished pink. So same, what I'm doing here is just starting in the centre, where almost like those sort of the stem is, and it will pick up, if you want it to, a little bit of the colour from the outside edge as well, but I just think it's better stamped in the colour rather than in black. If I was colouring using my blender pens, obviously I'd be wanting to stamp in Memento instead. So we have our other image. As I said, I've die cut my little frond, and now we want to stamp the image for the centre. You could stamp off your polished pink if you wanted to. I'm going to use some Blushing Bride, and I'm just going to hopefully use that grid to stamp it reasonably square and reasonably central. I haven't used my stamping pierce mat today. I do usually when I'm using photopolymer stamps, but I'm stamping onto the pad of Stampin' Up grid paper, so that actually acts as a bit of a cushion. I'm just overlaying those. You could obviously put one further down, have it at the top if you wanted to. I rather like the way those layer, I have to say. So there are some elements ready for us. Pop things out of the way, and then we can actually start constructing some of our card. Before I actually do all of that, I'm going to stamp on the inside and pop my little strip of DSP across there. So I'm actually going to pop this, no I'm not, I'm going to stamp first. I think we might go for the, yes, let's go for the leaf. I rather like this leaf, especially as an outline. I think it's rather nice. So we could just pop that on the inside there, and stamp your envelope as well. And let's put that piece of DSP. Now for this, obviously, we're just attaching flat, so you can just use seal for this, and pop that across there, just to give a bit of interest, and that can go straight into the inside of our card. So just pop that panel inside. Likewise, we can pop our DSP on the front. And I've just used Blushing Bride for my card base here. Could have used Polished Pink, I suppose. That might have been better. We'll see how it looks. Now we want to create... now I'm going to stick this onto here as well, so we can get that done. And then we'll create our scene for the front. Okay. So all I'm going to do now is actually just kind of position these first, how I might like them to appear. Not least for, because that's going to give me an idea of where I want my bowl to be, and I want it just not centre, but just off to the centre slightly. And the first thing I'm actually going to pop down is this sort of strand. So I'm just going to pop that down. Then I'm going to pop my leaves in the middle there. I've not come quite to the top because of those leaves hanging off the top of it as well. And the same with the sort of, they're almost almost like orchid flowers. So I'm going to come on and just put some adhesive everywhere apart from those top two flowers. And I'm keeping it fairly flat because I'm going to pop it up on dimensionals. So I'm going to keep this layer. I'm just going to lie that there. Pop my leaf over the edge of that. There we go. Like so. And then pop that up on some dimensionals to go on the front of our card. So with these you're going to want to make sure it's fairly well supported. So I'm just going to kind of put a couple in each corner and then a couple across the middle. And then open your card up, and that can go just in the centre there. And now we need to get on and make our mechanism, and for that you need 2 pieces of card, and you're making a piece that is like this, just to show you. And this is one where again I do tend to use my template just to help me work these things out, so I would recommend that you do that with this one. So the first piece you're going to need is 3.5 by 12 centimetres, and you're going to score at 1.5, at 7.5 and at 10.5. So that's that piece. The second piece, which is 3.5 by 5.8, so it's sort of 1/16 of an inch we're going to be using, is 1.5 score on the long and 4.5, like so. Okay, so one end is very slightly shorter than the other. Okay, so now what you need to do is with the short section at the top, so we're going to be creating a little piece here. So we're going to cut through the middle of this. So this bit at the top here is just a 1.3 bit, the narrow one. And because this is 3.5, so at about 1.7, I'm just going to cut up the middle to that score line. Just a touch, and move it over, and it's like literally the width of your track, that's all. And you can do that with scissors if you want to. You're just going to cut a channel up the middle there and then trim that away. So just come in with your snips like so. So you've like got this piece that's like two little legs. Okay. Now the mechanism itself, what you want to do is this bottom bit is going to fold backwards. This bit is forwards and then backwards. So you're making this shape here. Okay. Now you're going to put some adhesive on to these. So on this one, on this leg here, that is going to tuck and glue behind this flap. Okay, so there's a piece at the top. And the other piece, the back of the other second leg, is going to glue onto the back there. Okay, so that then gives our kind of little mechanism piece, and this is what's going to make our pop-up. Really easy. This piece here, you're going to add some adhesive and you're going to pop that in the middle of your card there. So probably should have measured that. It's maybe about 5.5. Let's have a look at 5.5. So yeah, it's going to go in the, it's going to go at about 5.5 in from each side. Let me just check that. 5.5, yeah. So it goes in at 5.5 from each side. So you're gluing that up to the score line, not quite into it, but just in front of it. And this second piece is going to glue up here. But before we do that, I'm just going to add my panel, and that goes on the front here. So just line the bottom up with that. And this is the trickiest bit, and it's kind of the easiest one is actually to kind of squash it together to kind of get that to glue. And then finally you're going to add some adhesive to the back there, and when that folds flat, as it does, you can see there, you can see that lines up with the top, then just fold that over and hold that in place. And once that's in place, here comes the magic, up pops your card, and as it closes down, that just slides inside. And that's it. So there we have our Billboard pop-up card using the fabulous Splendid Day and Biggest Wish. And if you'd like to pop along to my blog and shop with me, I'd be really grateful. I do appreciate all my customers, and I can send you a little thank you gift to show my appreciation. Any questions, give me a shout. Thanks for watching. Bye now.